Hey, welcome to The Explainer. They say a leader's actions are like a mirror. They don't just show you who's in charge, they reflect the entire culture of a company right back at itself. So let's take a good hard look in that mirror, shall we? All right, let's kick things off with a big question. What do you think is a leader's single most dangerous, most powerful weapon? Is it their big picture vision, their brilliant strategy, maybe their knack for raising money? Well, the answer is probably not what you're thinking. Believe it or not, it's a meeting. Yeah, a simple, everyday meeting. Why? Because a meeting is like a pressure cooker. It's the arena where a leader's style has its most immediate, most powerful impact, for good, or, as we're about to see, for very, very bad. It's where culture gets built or completely torn down, all in real time. And that brings us to a perfect example, a story about how a meeting can be, well, weaponized. So let's meet a leader who turned this into a dark art. This is Larry Ellison, the legendary co-founder of Oracle. Inside his own company, he got this, let's just say, infamous reputation. He wasn't just a tough boss. In meetings, people called him the executioner, and his weapon of choice? Public humiliation. And look, this wasn't about trying to find solutions. This was a power play. He would intentionally ask these super specific technical questions just to trip people up, to expose any little weakness. It created this toxic vibe where admitting you didn't know something felt like a career killer. And what does that do? It absolutely murders honest dialogue and the kind of risk-taking you need for innovation. But here's the thing. This kind of leadership, it's not just a one-off bad day. It's a blueprint for creating a whole system, a whole culture of fear. And the fallout from that, it can be absolutely devastating. And Larry Ellison was far from the only one doing this. Let's head over to Apple. For all his genius, Steve Jobs created a really similar environment. He wasn't using obscure tech questions. His tool was just brutal, dismissive feedback that would totally crush morale and make people terrified to show him their work. Yep, this is what he'd famously call a new product, right in front of the teams who had just poured months, maybe even years of their lives into it. Just imagine how that feels. That's not helpful feedback, right? It's a power move that teaches everyone one simple lesson. It is way safer to just keep your head down than it is to be creative and risk getting humiliated in public. So what happens when everyone's terrified to tell the truth? You get what's called a confirmation network. It's basically a system that shields the leader from any bad news. Elizabeth Holmes over at Theranos was a master of this. She pushed out anyone who told her the tech wasn't working and promoted the people who kept telling her everything was great. She ended up trapped in her own bubble because she'd fired anyone who dared to tell her the truth. Okay, so that's the dark side. But thankfully, there is a completely different way to do this. Let's look at leaders who do the exact opposite. The ones who build cultures based on trust and what's called psychological safety, where speaking up isn't just safe, it's actually encouraged. I mean, this comparison says it all, right? On one side, you've got Ellison's meeting, which is all about proving he's the smartest guy in the room. On the other, Jeff Bezos at Amazon had this famous rule. There was always one empty chair at the table. That chair, it represented the customer, the most important person in the room. So when things got tense, the question wasn't who's right, it was what does the customer in that chair want us to do? The whole goal shifts from ego to service. Toyota literally built this idea right into their assembly line with something called the and cord. Any worker at any level has the power to pull this cord and stop the entire production line if they spot a problem. I mean, think about how wild that is for a second. Instead of shooting the messenger, Toyota's system celebrates them. A problem isn't a disaster, it's a chance for the whole team to jump in, figure it out, and make sure it never ever happens again. And get this, at the Ritz-Carlton, this is the amount of money, $2,000, that any employee can spend per guest to fix a problem right then and there. No need to ask a manager. It's not seen as a cost, it's an investment in trusting your people to do the right thing for the customer. Okay, so this all sounds nice, right? But does any of this culture stuff actually affect the bottom line? Oh, you better believe it. These very different ways of leading have direct, huge, and measurable impacts on whether a business succeeds or fails. It's pretty simple math, really. When you build a culture of fear where people are punished for being honest, you're basically laying the groundwork for a massive failure down the road. Look at Wells Fargo. Their culture pushed insane sales goals and punished anyone who told the truth, and it led to this number, 3.5 million. That's how many fake bank and credit card accounts were created by employees. The culture didn't just allow it, it basically demanded it.
And it ended up costing them billions and shattering trust.
Or how about Sears? A new CEO came in and forced all the departments to compete against each other for money and resources. The idea was to create this healthy internal market. But the reality? Oh, it was brutal. Departments started hiding information, even sabotaging each other. The whole company basically ate itself from the inside out because collaboration was seen as a weakness. But here's the good news. On the flip side, when you have a culture that actually invests in its people, the returns can be absolutely incredible. And these aren't just feel-good stories. They are rock-solid business models. Costco is just the perfect example here. They invest a ton in their employees, paying them way more than the industry average. And the result? Look at this chart. The average retail turnover rate is a staggering 75%. Now look at Costco. It's less than 10%. Think of all the money they save on hiring and training. That creates experienced, happy employees who create happy, loyal customers. The investment more than pays for itself. So if leadership really is a mirror, and the culture around you is just a reflection of your actions and your words, let's do something a little different. Let's turn that mirror on you. Think about the last meeting you were in charge of. Seriously, did people walk out of there with a crystal clear sense of what to do next? Or did they leave kind of scratching their heads, more confused than when they came in? And what about the vibe? How did they feel? Did your leadership fire them up, make them feel valued and ready to go? Or did it just drain them, leaving them feeling exhausted and checked out? Because every single interaction, every decision, every email, every meeting, it all tells a story. So what story are your actions telling the people around you? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this one question. When people look into the mirror of your leadership, what do they see reflected back? Is it a culture of fear, or is it a culture of safety? Is it about dominance, or is it about service? That's the choice every single one of us makes every single day.